Frank Vega, a Vietnam War vet, encounters troublemakers on a bus, triggering memories of his simple past. After returning from the war, he discovers his sweetheart married another, leading to a heartbroken Frank's unconventional career as a hot dog vendor. Facing tough times, a viral video of Frank thwarting troublemakers brings him unexpected fame, turning him into a local hero. Despite the spotlight, tragedy strikes when Frank's mother passes away. A mysterious USB drive from a fellow vet introduces intrigue, but when troublemakers kill Frank's friend over it, a darker plot unfolds. Frank is left grappling with a newfound dangerous reality. Devastated by his best friend Klondike's murder, Frank Vega demands justice from the police. Officer Malar reassures him, but Frank, skeptical after seeing swift resolutions on the news, decides to investigate independently. Examining the crime scene, he discovers bullet casings and a locket hinting at a felon named Terren. Visiting Terren's wife, Frank learns of Terren's whereabouts. At a basketball court, a confrontation with uncooperative locals leads to the revelation of a connection with Ronaldo. Frank tracks down Ronaldo, coercing him for information. Discovering Terren's involvement with Tania, the plot intensifies, linking to a formidable gangster boss named Panther. Frank is determined to unveil the truth. Panther, the influential figure controlling troublemakers Terrence and Sebastian, engages in a tense conversation with the corrupt Mayor Williams. The pressure is on to retrieve a crucial flash drive stolen by Klondike, exposing the mayor's misdeeds. Klondike, once in Panther's employ, betrayed him, prompting Frank's mission for justice. With the aid of his neighbor Mar, Frank seeks the drive's contents. After questioning Tania, he tails her, leading to a confrontation with Terrence. Resorting to force, Frank discovers the flash drive unveils a scandal involving an oil well scheme for Mayor Williams. As he prepares to confront Panther, a domestic crisis interrupts, followed by a brutal ambush orchestrated by Panther's gang. Frank, resilient and unyielding, endures Panther's brutal torture. Panther, determined to find the flash drive, discovers Frank's home address in his wallet. Meanwhile, Frank escapes, igniting a fiery explosion. A vehicular chase ensues, causing chaos. Despite wrecked buses, Frank persists on foot, confronting the troublemakers from the bus earlier. Panther threatens Amber, but Frank intervenes. In a fierce showdown, Amber aids Frank, leading to Panther's capture. The police arrest both Panther and Mayor Williams, exposing their illicit activities. Frank, Amber, and Martin find happiness, concluding the saga. Frank, victorious, establishes a community boxing center, nurturing talent like Manny. The story pivots to Frank's post-heroic routine, highlighting his commitment to mentoring youth and managing the health concerns of a friend. Frank prepares Manny for his professional match, analyzing an opponent's moves in a video. Unexpectedly, Manny gifts Frank a cell phone with a heartfelt video expressing gratitude. However, Manny's joy turns to tragedy when summoned urgently by his boss, Adu Herrera. Accused of theft, Manny's explanations fall on deaf ears, leading to a violent confrontation. Despite showcasing his boxing skills, Manny is fatally stabbed from behind. The next day, Officer Malar delivers the devastating news to Frank, prompting a promise to avenge Manny's death. Frank attends Manny's funeral, comforting the family. As Frank faces personal challenges, including Bernie's health concerns and a store robbery, he remains determined to keep his boxing center drug-free. Suspicious of Manny's friend Tucson, Frank initiates a discreet investigation. Tucson's admission about Manny's involvement in drug dealing stuns Frank. Discovering Manny's hidden life, Frank confronts Adu's drug operation. Destroying the narcotics, Frank's actions draw the ire of Leandro Herrera, a powerful Argentinian diplomat. Leandro orders Adu to eliminate the threat. Grieving Manny, Frank watches a poignant video on Manny's phone. Overwhelmed, he seeks solace in alcohol. Encountering Adu's man insulting Manny, Frank fights back but is overpowered. Bernie, overcoming his fears, joins the brawl, and together they defeat Adu's henchmen. Bernie shares his past, his dreams shattered by injury and illness. Determined for justice, Frank and Bernie unite to find Adu, starting their investigation by bus to the drug dealer's apartment. After discovering Adalo's crew had eradicated evidence, Frank sought help from Officer Carmen to examine Manny's belongings, held as crime evidence. Carmen, hesitant but swayed by Frank, assisted. Going through Manny's contacts, Frank uncovered the drug supplier Hammer. Despite Hammer's refusal to cooperate, Frank resorted to torture, while Bernie tried to charm Hammer's girlfriend for information. Adu, learning Frank survived, tortured Hammer to extract Adelo's location. Julia's secret door promise was fulfilled, and Frank and Bernie, fixing Bernie's car, narrowly survived a house explosion. Malar warned them against Adu, but Rosaria offered refuge. Frank and Bernie confront Adalo, leading to a revelation and Leandro's arrest. Frank's news of Leandro's arrest brought relief to Rosaria, strengthening their romantic bond. However, Malar dashed their joy, revealing Leandro's diplomatic immunity. Determined to gather evidence, Frank and Bernie trailed Leandro to a meatpacking plant, uncovering his drug smuggling operation. Discovered they were confined in a cold storage room. Leandro, sinisterly aware of Frank's relationship with Rosaria, abducted her, leaving Julia hidden. Breaking free, Frank and Bernie, now with a repaired truck, embarked on a daring rescue mission. Dodging a helicopter attack, they confronted Adu, realizing Rosaria was in Leandro's car. Pressuring Leandro, Frank negotiated a trade for Rosaria, unveiling the complex and perilous situation. In a tense exchange, Frank and Leandro agreed to a trade, Rosaria for Adu. As they approached, Rosaria warned Frank of a hidden gunman, but Bernie's timely shot saved the day. Leroux's men challenged Frank to a fistfight, evoking Manny's memory. Despite initial setbacks, Frank's fury prevailed, knocking out Leandro. The police arrived, arresting Adu's gang, but discovering Leandro's demise. Post-victory celebrations followed, with Frank and Rosaria's romance flourishing. Bernie recovered from a successful liver transplant, finding love with Hammer's former girlfriend. The movie begins with Frank and Bernie thwarting a bank robbery, their heroic act going viral. Carmen's wedding invitation led to a surprising turn of events, with the trio heading to Louisiana. During the flight to Carmen's wedding in Louisiana, Bernie's bathroom plans took an unexpected turn when he encountered a stunning lady in the business-class restroom. Enchanted, Bernie abandoned his toilet mission to charm her. Their romantic chat was disrupted by a flight attendant, instructing Bernie to return to his economy seat for landing. Ticked off but compliant, Bernie reluctantly left the alluring encounter. Upon landing, a chauffeur awaited them, sent by Carmen. En route to Carmen's, Bernie's heartburn prompted a gas station stop, leading to an unexpected showdown with bag-snatching robbers. The heroic duo, unfazed by the tough-looking thieves, defended the lady and resumed their journey to Carmen's lavish family estate. There, they were introduced to Carmen's parents, Earl and Elle, and learned about the rich history of the family home. The evening unfolded with a lively celebration, marking the beginning of their Louisiana adventure. Carmen joyfully introduced Frank and Bernie to her husband Jeffrey, wheelchair-bound due to a walking impairment. Congratulating them on their marriage, the celebration continued with speeches from Earl, Frank, and Bernie, spreading wishes for happiness. As the night progressed with spirited revelry, a sudden power outage enveloped the house in darkness. Masked intruders took advantage, targeting Carmen. Despite the alcohol-induced haze, Frank, partly aware, attempted a solo rescue, only to endure a severe beating, leading to Carmen's abduction. The next day, Frank informed the police of the formidable gang involved, coinciding with Earl receiving a ransom call for a staggering $5 million. Facing this challenge, Carmen's mom turned to Frank and Bernie for their heroic assistance. Ronald stepped forward, offering crucial clues about a kidnapper with a Rouge Gentlemen's Club membership card, belonging to Board Granger. Acting responsibly, Frank and Bernie reported to the police, though Chief Brower disapproved of civilians meddling. Undeterred, they persisted, investigating at the club for Buford. Facing Buford's henchmen, Frank and Bernie triumphed effortlessly. Pressuring Buford, they extracted information about Carmen's location, Landry's loft. Simultaneously, Ronald, nearing the end of school, faced intimidation from bully Kyle, who demanded the use of Ronald's car. Unwilling to yield, Ronald's predicament added another layer of complexity to the unfolding events. Carmen endured captivity, resisting the kidnappers' attempts to force-feed her. Unbeknownst to them, Frank and Bernie reached Landry's loft, seeking Carmen's whereabouts. Marissa, posing as an ally, turned out to be a co-conspirator. Despite Marissa's resistance, the seasoned duo subdued her, extracting information. Meanwhile, Broussard, receiving news of capturing Buford, implicated Frank and Bernie in the kidnapping. Detective Williamson exercised caution, unwilling to hastily accuse them. In a separate incident, Ronald faced Kyle's threats at the supermarket, surrendering his money under duress. The intricate web of events unfolded, connecting the characters in a suspenseful narrative. Frank and Bernie intervened when Kyle was harassing Ronald, and the situation took an unexpected turn when Detective Williamson revealed himself as Kyle's father. Back home, Earl, aware of their detective work, urged them to abandon the investigation to avoid violence. Jeffrey, Carmen's husband, anxiously inquired about her, trusting the police's efforts. Frank shared Marissa's intel with Williamson, suspecting Broward's concealment. Williamson, now an ally, pledged assistance, providing his card. As Frank prepared for bed, Ronald offered him a protective titanium necklace, emphasizing its significance. Meanwhile, Carmen, confined, discovered a hidden passage, but found only a vent, yearning for an escape. Locked in an office with limited resources, Carmen discovered a hidden computer but faced a password hurdle. Undeterred, she noted her location and faxed it to the police station. Hearing someone approach, she hastily returned to her room. The following day, Frank and Bernie, acting on Marissa's lead, confronted Pierre at a restaurant about Carmen. When Pierre remained tight-lipped, Frank resorted to force, using hot oil to extract information. Simultaneously, Broussard received Carmen's fax and rushing to the location. However, Broward orchestrated their arrest and ordered a perilous plane drop. Meanwhile, Earl prepared ransom money as instructed by Carmen's kidnappers, seeking justice at the police station. While waiting in Broward's office, Earl found a discarded fax that Broussard had overlooked. Meanwhile, on the plane, Frank and Bernie deceived Broward's crew by feigning illness, seizing control after their handcuffs were removed. Despite Frank's lack of flying experience, he skillfully executed an emergency landing. Unable to contact Earl, they discovered a motorcycle in the plane's trunk, speeding to Carmen's location. Despite a tense confrontation with a guard, Earl intervened just in time, saving them. In an old factory, they faced Broward's men, eventually rescuing Carmen. However, Jeffrey, revealing his deception, aimed a gun at Carmen, exposing a shocking twist in the kidnapping scheme. Cooked up this plan together, he pretended to be paralyzed to get close to Carmen. Jeffrey, orchestrating the scheme, had his men tie up the trio and set the old factory ablaze as he fled with Carmen. In a dire situation, Ronald arrived just in time for a daring rescue, secretly following Earl. En route to the dock, Bernie questioned Frank about facing Jeffrey and his armed gang. Frank, optimistic about receiving help, anticipated a timely intervention. Down at the dock, Elle was stunned to discover Jeffrey's deception. As Jeffrey demanded ransom, Frank's crew arrived, confronting him. Earl confronted Jeffrey for betraying the family. Amidst the chaos, Broussard and his gang appeared, attempting to subdue them. In the ensuing struggle, Williamson and other cops, informed by Frank, arrived, prompting Broussard to fire a shot at Frank, hitting a titanium necklace Ronald had given him and kept in his waistband. Jeffrey faced Carmen's wrath, receiving a swift kick for his deception. Days later, as Frank and Bernie prepared to depart, Carmen's father, Earl, thanked them for saving his daughter. In a surprising turn, Earl expressed a desire to join the badasses, offering financial support and proposing a partnership. Eager for resources, Frank and Bernie readily welcomed Earl into their team, appreciating the assistance for their living expenses and business plans.